Hi, everybody.
Good. We're super excited to have you here with us today to talk about real estate, to talk about the luxury market, and how really people can bring luxury to any market. They can find those higher level homes in their market throughout the country.
Yep.
I think there's so many agents right now who are dying to break into that higher level, but they have so many fears. They're hearing so much on the news. They're hearing so much on social media, wherever they turn, that their confidence gets a little apprehensive. So today with you, we'd like to dig in how you started in real estate, how you broke into a luxury market, marketing tools, how you've always been ahead of the game, including your Homestack app. Of course, you're one of our OGs, and things that you've done differently, of course, besides just being you. So first off, who is Christophe Choo, for anyone who doesn't know?
Who am I? My name is Christophe Choo, obviously. I'm a broker here in Beverly Hills, California. And I serve the Los Angeles marketplace. I've been selling now for about 33 years. I started right out of high school, 18 years old, got my license and started selling. Although the first year I only sold one property. It was a $43,000 co-op condo. So it didn't have the greatest first year, but then I learned about how to prospect and make phone calls and go after business instead of waiting for it to come. And that's kind of how it started. But it was, just like everybody else, not everybody else. At 18, I didn't know anybody was going to buy or sell. So I had to find people that did want to buy or sell, because people my age were not buying and selling in those days. So, that's kind of how it started.
Yeah. So talk about that prospecting and getting after it.
Yeah. So I went to a conference, actually, like today, we have webinars and all that. But in those days, you had to go to a live event. And I went to an event. I don't think the guy's around anymore. His name was Roger Butcher. And his event was about going after primarily expired listings and for sale by owners. It was kind of like a basic script. And I thought, well, this makes sense. Nobody that I knew was buying or selling. So I thought, well, I can go and solicit sellers that had their house in the market that didn't sell, and sellers that are trying to sell for sale by owner. I just thought it was a good source of business since I didn't have any. And that's how it started. So I just started prospecting and learning how to do it consistently every day. 2-3 hours a day on the phone, calling and going to knock on those expired doors. And, I think more so even in this market than any market, because the world's changed a lot in 30 years. You have to really be proactive and consistent and always looking for sources of business. And in today's world, I call them the pillars. If you think of a building like the Acropolis in Greece and the Parthenon, all those columns, right, that hold up that structure that's been there for 2,500, 3,000 years. So to me, every column is a pillar in your business. One could be expired listings. One could be for sale by owners. One could be your church group. One could be your kid's school. So just think of your business as the Parthenon, and how many pillars do you have or want to add to strengthen your structure to have different sources of business? Because you can't just have one or two. You have to have multiple sources of business coming in, so that you have more of a consistent basis, and your business being more normalized in terms of the amount of production you can do.
Yeah, I love that analogy. Building that building. That's awesome. Yep. And the more that you add, the stronger it is.
That's right.
So how did you go from expired listings to selling, $30 million Bel Air mansions? How did you kind of work up to that? Obviously, I'm sure it didn't happen overnight.
No, it did not. As I mentioned, my first sale in 1989, I think it was, or 88, was a $43,000 co-op. I mean, a co-op is one of the cheapest things you can sell, and it was $43,000. And then I started doing expired listings, and I started building up. But in those days, I think my average price was hovering around $250,000, $280,000. And I was not in Beverly Hills. I was in an office in an area called Hancock Park, which is about 5 miles east of Beverly Hills. But in those days, the market there was like 200,000 to about 2-3 million was kind of the top end.
Yeah.
But I always knew luxury was the right thing for me. It didn't start that way. I mean, in those days, I was doing a lot of transactions, maybe 50, 65 transactions a year, but all at that kind of average price. So one of the things I decided, first of all, is I knew that I wanted to be in luxury. So what I started to do is every year when I was, in the beginning, I prospected every expired listing, but as my price range built and grew, I said, okay, this year my new average price is 280,000. So I will not prospect or go after any listings below that price point. I'll go only above. Now, if business comes to me, I don't turn it down, obviously. But I just every year when my price point moved up, I'm like, okay, my new threshold is this. Go after the higher ones, go after the higher ones. And I just always internally was into luxury just my whole life, and clothing. And I was a fashion model before I was in real estate in the first few years of real estate. So I got to travel the world and experience a lot of and be exposed to a lot of beautiful things and properties, in Europe, and high expensive clothing and fashion. So I always wanted to live that kind of lifestyle. So I thought, okay, how am I going to get there? And kind of how it started, really how the luxury changed for me is we were on a cruise in 1993 in Europe, and it was a 2-week cruise, 2 weeks in the different cities in the south of France and Italy. And I thought, this is a great way to, and the cruise was tremendously expensive. It was a quarter of my annual income at that point in time. It was a lot, but I just knew instinctively, I said, I'm going to make a lot of money from this cruise somehow. I don't know why, I just felt that. I met a couple from Beverly Hills on the cruise that we happened to be sitting next to on the deck chairs on the pool on one of the sea days. And we became friends with them, and they were established Beverly Hills residents, have a beautiful house and had a beautiful house in Beverly Hills. And we started talking and we became friends. And maybe about a couple of months later, I was a training director as well in the Hancock Park office. And regionally, I was training the new agents regionally in Southern California. And I thought, okay, I was at this meeting and the manager of the Beverly Hills office was there. And she said, why haven't you thought about coming to work in Beverly Hills? I said, well, I've always thought about it, but I never did anything about it. I didn't take action. So the day after the conference, I went to meet her, I interviewed. She said, we'd like to have you join the office. And I literally packed my stuff and literally moved immediately and started working in Beverly Hills. So mentally, I was there. I'd been working, I knew my business because, 3, 4, 5 years selling lots of properties, I knew how to do it. And I knew the market here would be different, but I physically moved my office here. And just kind of, the first year was a little challenging because that transition was tough. And I started working the higher end properties. And, working in Hancock Park, you could not list a Beverly Hills property, but working in Beverly Hills, you can list properties almost anywhere. We just sold one in Hancock Park for almost 7 million. But, depending on where you are in your marketplace, sometimes you can't sell in certain areas because sellers, especially in the high end, they like a Beverly Hills broker because, sometimes they have clients that come to Beverly Hills and the prices are too much, and then we take them to other areas outside.
But going back to that, it was truly your mindset.
Oh, absolutely.
You switched to a bigger mindset. And so it's mindset, and then it was the networking and the connections, and maybe the universe had a little to play in that.
Yeah. I remember when I moved, I felt like I was the big fish in the little sea in Hancock Park. And I said, you can't grow being the big fish in a small pond.
Yeah.
So I thought, okay, I want to be the small fish in the big pond. That's why moving to Beverly Hills was exactly that. I, lost a lot of my business there, but I started fresh over here. But you have to put yourself in those uncomfortable situations to grow and to build.
Yeah. And that actually kind of segues into my next question. So you're extremely established, obviously. You've been in this business for 30 years, yet you continue to stay on top of your marketing.
Yep.
You continue to stay on top of tech tools. You haven't just kind of cruised and said like, hey, I'm good, I'm just going to keep cruising. Like, you don't stop. Like, why,
Well, you have to constantly reinvent yourself, number one. And again, when I started 30-some years ago, computers were just starting out. We had fax machines. We had old MLS books. I mean, just the internet was just starting out. I mean, you think about it, iPhones are only, 18 years old. So back in those days, the technology wasn't there. We had to literally always go to the client's house to get them to sign documents, So, so always you have to be learning and growing. And I started having coaches in real estate, I think my second or third year in the business. Mike Ferry was my original coach. I'm sure most of you know Mike Ferry. I know one of my, Danny Calais, I met him originally, I think through Mike Ferry. I think he's not here anymore.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so we go back a long way. So I always believed in education and getting coached, which to this day, since I started, yeah, just Tom, my coach. So to this day, I have not been I've always had a coach now for about 30 years, nonstop, 30 years straight coaching.
That's what Shannon Gillette said too. And she is, she's huge too in video and social media. And I'm like, and she's like, coaching, even, 15 years in or whatever, has been huge.
Absolutely.
But for you, it seems like gut instinct. You've always had a good gut, like,
Yes.
knowing what the next marketing trend will be. And I always go back to video, because when you started doing video, people were still doing print. Like what told you to get that camcorder out, start to put this stuff on the internet? Like, people probably thought you were like crazy, like, get your flyers out there, get your door knockers out there.
Yes. So prior to really starting to do videos, I had a couple of back, this is going on 18 years ago or so. I had a couple big listings in the $30 million range that actually sold, and they were quite special, unique properties. And I did TV segments for different TV shows for some of those properties. So I kind of learned about the power, but it was television. I mean, YouTube, I don't even know if YouTube was around in those days. Maybe it was there, but so I already kind of knew about the importance of television and media. And I mean, photo is so static, you know what I mean? But a video is it's a whole different thing. So in those days, it was all about the blogs, the websites, and the blog, right? You'd have to, so I'd go to events and see properties, and I'd have to take photos and then write a blog. It was challenging. I'm not a writer particularly.
Yeah.
I'm a great photographer, but not a writer. So the blogs, so I was at a Tom Ferry conference. I just signed up with coaching Tom maybe a year before. We were in Palm Desert, and Gary Vaynerchuk, who I'm sure most of you know,
yeah,
was there, and he was talking to us and talked about how YouTube was just purchased by Google, right?
Yeah.
You guys got to start doing videos. And he said to me, he says, you are Mr. Beverly Hills. He said, lifestyles of the rich and famous. He says, you need to be a DJ for content in the community. And that made sense to me, because when I was a teenager and young adult, I was a clubber. I go to clubs. And it was nothing better than the DJ on there spinning the discs, and you'd have different songs to dance to. It was, so I got the point of, you're the DJ in control, and you've got different content, and you're putting the content out to the crowd, right?
Wow.
So, and in those days there was flip cam. So they talked about video. You got to start doing video. And I was in Palm Desert. It was 118 degrees, and I thought, this makes sense for me. I said, I don't like to write. I hate those. It would take me an hour or two to write a blog on my website. But I thought, I could buy a video camera and just turn it on and talk about what I want to talk about. So that afternoon at 5 o'clock, when the day was done, I went to Good Guys or Best Buy. I bought a flip cam and a tripod and a light. And I went back to the hotel room. I shot my first video on the balcony. My assistant was there. And I said, am I crazy? What am I doing in the middle of in August in 118 degrees? So I shot my first video, and I started doing more and more and more. And Tom was coaching with me at the time. And so he was all into video, but I was one of the first agents to start doing videos. And when I did my first really expensive helicopter tour of all the houses, the most expensive homes in LA, this is probably 17 years ago, I got a lot of flack from it. I had lawyers calling me. Oh yeah. Wow. Lawyers calling me, threatening lawsuits, and how could I show ingress and egress to people's property on a video, all sorts of nonsense. And I would talk to the attorneys, and our attorney, I'm like, well, you go to Google Earth, you type in someone's address, you can go zoom right into back days they did have Google Earth. So look, I fought them. I took the video off for a while, but I put it back on. But look, I always believe in trying something different. If you have people contacting you and being upset, that means you're doing something different. Now, a lot of people are doing videos. And I remember mostly, I think it was the agents literally rented a helicopter. We flew around all these expensive homes. And I'm saying, this is 150 million, this is 80 million. And, I think those agents are really ticked off that I did it for them. And I think they were just
jealous maybe of your idea.
Yeah. And they were calling their clients and calling their attorneys, say, get this offline. And people were upset with me. Well, anyway.
But for number one, you got to shake it up.
Yep.
Got to shake it up. And number two, you just start. You have to just start. Like you didn't start with the helicopter. You started with the flip cam on your balcony.
Yeah.
So anyone can start these things. Anyone can start to shake it up, put things out there. And not every single thing you do is going to take off like gangbusters.
Yeah. And nowadays with the iPhone, I mean, I do have professional videographers and we use them, but I quite often do a lot of my videos from my phone. You know, the phones are so amazing now, and all these light kits and wireless microphones. I mean, it's been a progression. It's constantly changing, but yeah, you have to, I'm always a believer in, you go to a conference or you read a book or you hear something on a webinar. Okay, you get 10 ideas. Well, just start with one. Which one really in your gut makes sense to you, and just try it. It's not going to work out perfectly the first time. You got to just try it, keep doing it, and see what the results are. Even with videos, I was coaching with Tom, and I think had been doing videos for maybe 3 to 4 years, a long time. And I had already had at that point about 800 videos on YouTube.
Wow.
And I kept saying to Tom, because if I want to do something and spend time and effort and money, I want to monetize it. Yeah. And I said, Tom, I said, it's been 3-4 years. I mean, I have 880 videos online, but I haven't monetized yet. He says, Christophe, keep doing what you're doing. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. Just keep doing it. Consistency. So I did. And then how it kind of first monetizes, out of the blue, I was at the office. I got a call. My assistant said, this lady wants to talk to you about buying and selling a house. I said, great. She put me through. I'm on the phone with her. She'd been working with another agent in my company for about a year, looking for a home. Wasn't so happy, but I said, well, how'd you find out about me? She said, oh, I saw your videos. I said, well, great. Which videos? I saw your helicopter tour of the most expensive homes, and I saw your driving tour of Stone Canyon Road in Bel Air. I said, well, what made you decide to call me from those 2 videos? Because it's really important as an agent, when you do get a lead coming to you, you talk to them and you ask them, how did you find out about me? Yeah. What made you decide to call me? So it was so interesting. So she'd been looking for 1.5 years with another agent. And she says, there were 2 reasons I called you. She said, number one, if you'd spend that much money on a helicopter tour of houses, you would spend money to market my home. Okay.
Wow.
And number 2, she said, you were very honest. And I said, well, how so specifically? And she said, well, on this driving tour of Stone Canyon Road, which is a part of Bel Air, which is a very high-end area. It's called Stone Canyon because it's a road that's in the middle of kind of 2 mountains. It's a canyon. And I said in the video at some point, it was a driving tour, just driving through, talking about the prices and the kinds of homes and who lives there and celebrities and billionaires and that kind of thing. And I said, if you're a sun lover, I said, this may not be for you. I said, because, you're in a canyon. So the sun, I mean, it was the canyon goes north and south, sun rises east and west. I said, in the morning, the sun will rise a couple hours later on the property than being in the flatlands or on top of the hill. And it will set a couple hours earlier because the sun is blocked by the mountain on the west.
Yeah.
So they were in escrow on a $12 million house. And when they went to inspections at 3 o'clock in the afternoon in the summertime, the pool had no sunshine.
Wow.
And who wants to spend $12 million in those days? Today it's 25 million on a house with a pool that doesn't have sun in the summertime, right?
Yeah.
Well, some will. So from that, within 30 days, I found them a house. They bought a house for almost 11 million. I sold the house for 5 million. Their friends bought for 4.6 million. The secretary, I sold her condo for 475 and she bought a house for 1.3. So within probably 120 days, we did like, how much, 28-30 million dollars in sales from those 2 videos that led to others. So
but that was after consistent videos.
3-4 years. 4 years.
Is the key.
Yep.
Consistency is my biggest takeaway from that. So don't just I think sometimes people post 1 video and they're like, I got only 3 likes. And it's you got to keep going. You got to keep, doing these things and stay consistent with it.
Yeah, I try to post at least 1 video a day. It's not always so easy, but nowadays I do what's called batching videos. So I'll hire my videographer, especially the shorts on YouTube and the Instagram Reels. They're basically kind of short questions that clients, buyers, and sellers and agents have. Yeah. And come shoot for a whole day. We'll start at 8 o'clock in the morning till 5. And I sit there with a whole list of, 40, 50, 60 questions.
Burning questions.
Yeah, and we'll sometimes shoot 65 videos in a day, just one after the other. So what's the next question? What's the next question? What's the next question? And I just kind of said, this one asked me this. Here's the response. So we do batching videos, but you got to just try all different things. You never know what's going to work. So you got to try
Yeah.
different things and do what works for your personality, but you got to try and start.
I love that. So much like video, you're always ahead of the game when it comes to tech. You were a very early adopter of having your own mobile real estate app.
That's true.
You were one of the original Homestack clients. What, like 8 years ago, 10 years ago?
It's 8 to 10 years ago. Yeah.
Yeah. Tell us your app story a little bit.
Well, the funny thing is, probably 10 years before that, somebody randomly contacted me and said, we want to build you an app. So I didn't really know. I mean, apps weren't really big in those days. I mean, so the guy contacted me. He built an app. It was really not very functional, but it was at least an app, you know. And I don't know exactly. I don't know anything about computer coding or apps and all this stuff, but basically it was just the app connected somehow to the MLS somehow. But it was fine and it worked okay. It was nice to have something new that no one else had. I always like to be different and unique, to stand out, right?
Yeah.
So then when your company approached me 8-10 years ago, I'm like, and I looked at the product itself. I'm like, wow, this is really great. So I didn't buy just one. I bought, I think, 4 or 5.
Yeah.
Because I did my Christophe Choo app, I did the Beverly Hills app, I did the Homeby Hills app, and I did the Bel Air app. I thought, if people are searching on the App Store, they can type in Beverly Hills and my app will come up. Or, you know, my name one is more the one I send to my clients. So yeah, I thought it made sense. And, you know, everyone, what 80% of our time is spent on our phones nowadays.
Oh my gosh. Yes. I think people sleep with their phones now. They're like cradling it as they go to sleep at night. Everybody should download Christophe's app just for the pure taking the tours of these homes because they're so beautiful in his area.
If you search the App Store or the Google Play, just type in Christophe Choo and the app will pop up. That's the main one.
Yeah. So how does having an app help your clients, and when do you introduce it in the process to people?
Good question. So it does help my clients tremendously and helps me in my interaction with them. I typically try to introduce it to them kind of in the early stages. If they're buying, then we kind of meet, we talk, because a lot of times buyers, what do? They go to Zillow, they go to Trulia, they go to Redfin, and they'll send me, you know, like I remember one client was buying a very expensive house. They were from Asia, and every day I get like 27, you know, WhatsApp messages. But one was Redfin, one was Zillow, one was, I mean, it was just, and then I have got to pull each one up, and I got to go to Redfin, and I got to the ML. It was just crazy, time consuming. So it's really great now because it really kind of streamlines everything in one place. So I encourage my clients to download the app right away, which most of them do. And they like, because everything is in one place and everything they look at, I can see. And they can send me a message. Oh, I like these 2 houses. Let's go see them on Sunday, or let's go see them on Wednesday. So it's a great way to communicate efficiently and effectively. It saves me a lot of time and effort, and my clients as well. So it's been really well received. And now with what we're doing to add, you know, restaurants and places to shop and make it more like, because we're selling in the luxury world a lifestyle. I'm not just selling a home.
Yes.
And even last night we were at dinner. Friends took us to dinner. She's from New York. Her mom lives here in the Hollywood Hills. And at dinner, like the questions were, oh, I need a good gutter replacement guy. I need a good handyman. I need a good cleaning crew. I need a good this. And I'm like, oh shoot, I gotta have that all in my app. So we gotta make sure to add that stuff in, because otherwise it's like today I haven't had time yet, but I'm like, I got to go to my thing and find it. I can just say, go to my app and everything is on there.
Boom, boom.
So
I love it.
It really makes you more efficient. And it makes, look, the bottom line is we want to make the customer experience smooth and comfortable and easy. That's what they want, you know?
Yep. In this day and age, everyone wants things instant and easy, right?
Exactly.
You have also done a lot of cool app promotion on social media. I was going to pull up the recent video that you did.
Illustrated through the home buying process.
Oh,
You look on Zillow and Redfin and the MLS.com and all these different sites to try to find properties and send them to your agent. Well, back about 14, 15 years ago.
How do you think social media helps people to download your app, but also with the know, like, trust factor?
So first question is,
How do you think social media helps people to kind of get to know you as an agent?
So social media, when it first came out, I think it was the same, I mean, it was really big. It was the same time with the Gary Vaynerchuk, 17, 18 years ago.
Yeah.
And at that point in time, I was not on any social media platform. And Gary Vaynerchuk, I mean, he's such an inspiring guy. He also said that day, he says, from 8 o'clock in the morning till 8 o'clock at night, you're working in your business, right? You're at work, you're with clients, you're doing your
Yeah.
stuff. But he said from 8 o'clock at night till midnight, you got to work on your business. So I thought, and I thought, okay, social media. I mean, in those days, you had emails, you had phone calls, face to face. But social media, I thought this is an opportunity to be in front of all of the people that I know, or people that I don't know even, and be in front of them on a consistent basis. So I remember I was not on any platform, and I thought to myself, I don't want to be on Facebook. I don't want to be on social media. I don't want people to see all my private life and what I'm doing.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
but I realized very quickly, I'm in control to choose what content I want to put out there. So if I don't want to share this, I don't share it, right? So I remember that Gary thing was amazing. So I went home after the conference, and every night, like 8 o'clock at night, I'm watching TV with my laptop on my, okay, today I'm going to join Facebook. I joined Facebook and I created a photo and a profile and did all that stuff. And then next day I would do Instagram, and then I would do LinkedIn, and I would do whatever. Every day I took one a day. And I'm glad I did that, because it's a huge opportunity, especially in the luxury world. What's very interesting is my really, really wealthy clients and friends, they're pretty much only on Instagram. They're
Interesting.
not on Facebook, they're not on LinkedIn, they're on Instagram, and they all have private accounts. But, connecting with people on a consistent basis is so important. So to me, social media is such an amazing opportunity to really, share your message, be interactive with your friends, clients, and potential clients, so they see that you're interested.
Yeah.
But the worst thing is, you friend someone on social media. This is especially on LinkedIn. It's terrible. They'll send you a friend request and you accept it, and then the first thing you do, they start selling you something. Oh, let's do a talk. I want to tell you, mostly it's, sell you buyer leads or seller leads or build your team,
Oh,
whatever.
yeah. Well,
There's
that's the best thing about your real estate app, is that it's private.
Yeah.
It's not
Good.
like Zillow where they're selling your people off as leads. It's completely private and secure, especially on the luxury level.
When clients want that security and privacy, for sure. Because you search something online, all of a sudden every ad on Facebook and Instagram is like the products you're looking for. I'm like, I don't like that.
Yeah.
With our
I'm
apps,
just
it's
gonna
private.
pull up your custom links in the app too. So this is what Christophe was talking about. If you guys don't have your custom link set up, it's a way to take your app beyond the search. And like Christophe was saying, make it a part of your lifestyle. Make it like your Good Housekeeping, seal of approval places, Christophe Beverly Hills, the Ivy, Rodeo Drive, Verbella Spa Beverly Hills, and this goes right there.
I love that.
So cool. And it's a nice way to kind of even further connect with your clients. I also love your videos too. And any of the videos that you link in here play right from YouTube, which is so cool.
That's
So
great. And that's why after that dinner last night, I thought I've got to really build up the Christophe referral network, like contractors, that kind of thing. Because clients are always calling me, I need a painter, I need this, and I got to call them back. I got to go to my phone. I got to text them the information. So this is going to be a great way to, again, streamline my process and make it easier for my buyers or sellers. I can say, hey, just go to my app. Everything's there. Anyone that I like and recommend, it's on the app.
That's awesome. Let's just talk follow-up for a minute. You were recently on the Tom Ferry podcast, Luxury Code. I think he has like a new luxury spinoff. And
I think I was the first guy in the luxury code.
Of course you were.
He calls me an OG too, like you do.
So going back to that follow-up, you said something about like with hiring clients, you want to be aggressive, but not too aggressive. Talk to us a little bit about, the best 2 to 3 ways where you can follow up with somebody, maybe even sharing your app, because it's like putting the search in their hands. It's not super, Aggressive. Talk to us about
So,
that.
so aggressive is probably not the right word. I never want to be aggressive. That's not the way I like to present myself.
Yeah.
Anything, I try to really pull back, especially in the higher end luxury clients, because look, we'll sometimes go to a party, and then there'll be 2 or 3 or 4 top high-end luxury agents in the same party. So, nobody wants to be sold. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, but love you, trust you, respect you, that's important. It's by being caring and knowing what's important to them. Even like last night, I mean, one of the ladies at the dinner, she's a very famous actress. I won't mention her name, but you would recognize her immediately. And she's 96 years old, God bless her, but still, she just came back from Canada Tuesday night from filming a TV series, and she's just amazing. But I call her Mama, but we call her Auntie Mama. She was the Mama on Joy Luck Club, and then Mama on Crazy Rich Asians. Anyways, it wasn't about the dinner. It was, just the minute she came with the driver, of course, I was in the restaurant. I ran outside, help her, and just help her walk inside. And just to me, the whole night was about honoring her and making her feel special and happy and comfortable. So I think if we come from a perspective of just helping our clients and whatever they need, then we don't need to be aggressive. Naturally, they will come to us because they know us, they like what we do to help them, and they trust us. So yeah, I don't like the word aggressive. It's kind of a negative word. I just like to be as helpful and beneficial as I can, as much as I can.
That's awesome. And I think you can take that into video. I think you can take that in that sentiment of being helpful into all of your marketing.
Yes. With my videos, my short videos, I just try to answer questions that buyers will also, how much are property taxes? What kind of inspection should I mean, there's, hundreds of questions. I try to answer those on video. But again, with video, you put it on Instagram or YouTube or whatever, you only maybe 5 or 10% of your audience will actually see it. And I read an interesting stat 2 days ago, which really shocked me. It said that only 14% of agents are on Instagram. I was pretty shocked. I don't think that's a right number.
I think I saw that too. And I was like, it's free, it's visual, like it is a real estate agent's like playground.
But you know what I think? I think the biggest question I get with the video world is, oh, I don't feel comfortable. I don't want to look bad. I don't want to look, whatever. So got to just be you. Look, I don't look great today. I just had a laser thing done a couple days ago, so my face looks kind of funky. And I had a facial yesterday. So I know when I get those treatments done, my face looks a little bit wonky. But I'm like, oh, I got to do my interview. And it doesn't matter. You are who you are. And I tell people all the time, like, I don't do a video because I don't look. I said, let me ask you a question. I said, you meet clients every day, face to face, right? You go to showings, you do open houses, you look the way you look, right? You look the way you look. With video, you just camera's on. That's all.
Yeah.
Look the same. So why only look the way you look with the people you see physically in your personal real world, when you can look the same physically in the social world with millions of people or thousands of people or whatever that number is,
First of all, you always look great. That's awesome. It's true. I know you look the way you look. Just do it. So going back to the app a little bit, do you have any cool app stories or what's one of your best app success stories?
I guess my best app success story was a client was on the app and looking at properties. And he says, let's go take a look at this one tomorrow. I said, great. But again, it was the ease of just doing that. And I think from the app, I think I actually clicked it and I was able to call the agent, to schedule the showing, and they bought the house. So,
That's awesome.
Ease and simplicity. I think that's what everybody wants. I mean, we're so bombarded every day with so much information. People have kids and dogs and families and travel and work problems. And, we all have problems every day, right? So what can we do to make our clients' life easier? And I feel the app really does that.
Yeah. So what would you suggest to a realtor trying to make a name for themselves in that higher tier market?
Okay, so first of all, depending on where you live and work, and of course, high-end luxury can be 600,000 in some areas, could be 700,000, could be 1 million, could be, our market here in the west side of LA, 5 million plus is considered luxury. So
Yeah.
I know it's very different than the rest of the world. I get that. But you have to kind of look at where you're selling your marketplace. And first of all, are you doing it because you just want to make a lot of money in that because you think it's higher end prices? But you have to realize that in the high end market, it can look very pretty, especially all those TV shows, $1 Million Listing and all that stuff.
Yeah.
They come on the show and in 10 minutes, they meet a client. 20 minutes later, they've sold a house for $40 million.
Yeah.
No drama, no nothing. I mean, it doesn't work like that. I have not done this video yet, but we closed escrow. We did a couple big closings recently, and one of them was asking 17 million. We bought it for close to that price. But people see that online. Oh, I said, all cash deal, but basically I met the buyers. They were foreign buyers. I met them initially through a referral from a broker back in July of 2022. They came to LA. We spent 3 full days. A buyer looking to spend 15, 20 million, they're not going to usually buy like that, right? They're going to, and they're new to LA. They don't know. They hear Beverly Hills, but then they want, okay, what can I buy for 20 million, right? So you got to take them. So it was like 3 days, one day, 8, 10 houses in all these, next day, 8, 10 houses, next day, 10, and then they were leaving town, coming back in December. So it's like, you spent 3 full days and, lunch with them, dinners, touring. So literally when those kind of big buyers come in town, my whole day is focused on them. I'm in with them all day. And then they're gone. And then kind of the disappointment of, oh, just spent 3 days, didn't make any money. They didn't buy a house. They come back in December, Christmas or whatever. And then we look at, then we don't like those areas. Let's look at these new areas. You got to start again, right? And then you find a property. So we found a property, and then they leave town again, right? To go back to their country. And then we got to start negotiating. That particular house, I won't go into the details, but took us 5-6 weeks to negotiate the transaction, which is surprising, but it did. And then we opened escrow. It was going to be a 30-day escrow. Ended up being 48-day escrow, even though it was an all cash deal. It was a brand new construction house. We probably did about 23 different inspections on that house.
Oh my gosh.
And of course, the buyers were not here. Their buyers were in Europe. So guess who had to go to all the inspections? Guess who has to meet the inspectors? Guess has to videotape the synopsis from the inspectors. They'll send you a written report.
Yeah.
A written report can be very scary and very onerous. Whereas I'm like, okay, you just finished. Let me just take a quick 2-3 minute video recording of you, what you're saying. And I do my own videos and notes and what's happened to the clients. So yeah, it's, oh, wow, we sold another $17 million house. Oh, all cash. Oh, easy. But it was
with social media and with all those shows, it just makes it look like, it's glam all the time. It's easy, money. But real estate is just always elbow grease and always.
And more than 50% of those transactions are not real on those shows. I can promise you. I know.
Wow. You're really revealing everything to us today, Christophe.
Oh, shoot. I shouldn't say that. That's why I turned out. I was going to be on $1 Million Listing, way back when they first started 11 years ago. And it was interesting. I know why I brought this up, but we had interviewed a couple of times at their studios. They liked me. They found me for my videos on YouTube. I said the producer and casting, I said, how'd you find? Oh, we were Googling Beverly Hills. We saw you. We like you. So they met me.
Oh.
So we did, tests at the studio and all the stuff. And we were at lunch in Beverly Hills. They brought the contract. We were going to sign the contract. And that was the first real estate reality TV show, was $1 Million Listing Beverly Hills. So I was super excited. I'm like, oh, I'm going to be on TV. I'm going to be a star. I'm going to be famous. I'll make a lot of money. And we're sitting at lunch. And I said to them, I'm curious. I said, we never talked about this. What do you want to get out of the show? They said, it was Bravo, right? We want ratings, we want drama, and fights between the agents.
Oh, geez.
So my wife was sitting next to me, the casting director and producer were there. And I said, you know what? Without even looking at her, I just said, that's just not for me. So I didn't do it. Maybe I should have done it, but I didn't. So when HGTV came to me a year or two later with selling LA, I'd kind of been through the gamut before. I said, okay, so before I even interviewed, I said, what do you want out of the show? They said, we want real deals, real clients, and deals that close. I said, that I can do, except I said, when we start filming with a client, a buyer or seller, we never know if they're going to make the deal, if it's ever going to close, right? So I did that show, but we were on the air only for 3 years because, $1 Million Listing was getting 1.4, 1.8 million viewers per episode. We were getting 600,000-700,000.
Yeah.
It wasn't a salacious, dramatic show. It was
Yeah,
just,
yeah. So there's a couple questions that came through. Oh, Adrian Phillip said, no question, but I've been following Christophe and he does a wonderful job in all his explanations. It's helped me and uplifted me in the real estate world. I'm currently working in Remax Aruba as a realtor. Thank you for being there, Christophe Choo.
wow, Aruba. So Adrian, please send me a message because I've never been to Aruba, but I'm sure clients that want to buy in Aruba. So send me a private message so we can connect.
That is awesome. Yeah, anybody send in any of your questions now for Christophe. I'm going to ask him one more question, but then we will answer it. We'll open it up to some Q&A. So
I love questions. And Danny, by the way, if you're still there, Danny, hello.
Yeah, Danny made a couple of comments too. He said, Tom Ferry, Palm Springs, your video platform is amazing.
Oh, thank you, Danny.
And good to see you, Christophe. Cool. So the last question we have for you, Christophe, and then we'll open it up to questions from anybody else. Fire up the Q&A box, guys. One thing that I heard you once say, which I loved, was be aware of your confidences. There's a lot of agents that are confident they could sell a $200,000 house, or confident they could, keep doing what they're doing and coast along. But how do you bust out of that mindset, and how do you become more confident in that higher up listing?
So that's a really good question, and I haven't thought about this story, discussed it in a long time. So when I got my first $30 million listing, which is back 17, 18 years ago, around that time, my highest sale price at that point was like 5.8 million. However, in our market, we have something called Caravan, where every Tuesday, all of the houses, the new listings or price reductions are open for brokers to go tour. So it would go every single Tuesday from 11 o'clock in the morning till 2 o'clock in the afternoon, 3 hours, previewing as many houses as I can in person. And in the summertime, when it was 100 degrees and you're walking up and down steps of a 30,000 square foot house, it's hard. But I kept looking at all and I would get the brochures and put them in I had a little three ring binders with the brochures of all these houses. And one of my friends who was in the business for many, many years, she'd come with me on Caravan. Just, why are you wasting your time looking at all these 5, 10, 20, $30 million houses? You don't have buyers for that. I said, well, I may not today, but if I do tomorrow, I know exactly what to show them.
Yeah.
So I remember I got this random call from a friend. It says on a Sunday morning, says, we want to have you come take a look at our house tomorrow. We want to sell, I knew the house, sell it. And it was in the $30 million price range. And because I had spent so much time for 5-6 years looking at all the properties in the area, I really knew it, even though I never sold anything for 30 million, I knew it down cold. Wow. So I remember going to the appointment. I remember that was Sunday morning at 8 o'clock or 8:30. I called up my wife. I said, you know what? So-and-so and so-and-so are meeting me tomorrow. I want to talk about listing their house. I said, I need to spend the entire day preparing for my presentation. He was a big internet guy, big businessman, and it was a major listing, right? So I think I spent 7 or 8 hours putting together a very professional, formal presentation to present to the husband, because the wife wasn't in the meeting.
Yeah.
So I literally spent literally the whole day preparing. Next morning, 8 o'clock, I went to the house, and I had it all prepared. I knew all the numbers, I knew all the properties, everything was there. But I used my coaching scripts, right, that I learned. And my first question was, do you absolutely have to sell your home? And he says, well, yes, we're moving out of the country. This was October. In July, I said, great. Are you willing to price your home to sell? He says, well, what price do you have in mind? I said, what do you think it's worth? I said, it's worth 22, 23 million. He says, what do you want to list it for? I said, 26.5. He says, nope, I want it for 30 million. I said, okay. I said, if I sell your home in the next 30 days, is that okay with you? He says, no. He says, the kids are still in school. We're not leaving until July, August, once kids are out of school. I said, well, if that's the case, I need a 1-year listing agreement.
Hmm.
And then he said to me, what's your commission? And this was the most gutsy thing I ever did. I said, 6%. And I smiled. 6% was unheard of in that price range in those days.
Yeah.
And he looks at me and he says, I will only pay you $1 million to sell this house. And I had spent 8 hours preparing, right? So I did all the commission calculations in my mind. So when he said $1 million, I scratched out 6%. I wrote in $1 million.
Hmm.
And this was October. We closed escrow in December of that year. So 9 months later.
Wow.
But he paid us $1 million because that's what he said. That's what he wanted.
Wow.
So I didn't get my 6%, but I got 5.35 or whatever it was.
But know your market and know those markets that you want to level up to.
You have to know it down cold. You have to know it.
Yeah. Oh, I love that.
You're at dinner with these people, or you're at a party with these people, and they're thinking, oh, maybe in the back of my, I might want to sell in 6 or 7 months. I kind of like Christophe. I see he's busy, he makes a lot of deals. And I've had clients like trick me, like friends. We're at dinner. And this is one time we went to parties in New York for a friend's birthday, and we're at dinner. And he's like talking to me about this house. Like, what do you think about this house? And what do you think it's worth? And blah, 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 and blah, blah, blah. I was very frank about it. But 3 days later, I came on a Wall Street Journal. He bought the house for 43 million without me. Even though he was a friend. But he was asking me a million questions of what I think it's worth it. And, anyways, you got to know your market, because you never know when to ask you those questions. And if they ask you a lot of questions that are very specific, there's something going on that you need to kind of pay attention to.
Put your ears up, right? Put your ears up.
Exactly.
Awesome, Christophe. Thank you so much. We're going to see if any questions came through. Valerie Nunez from Finch and Gable. Hi, Val. She said, what is your best piece of prospecting advice to tap into the luxury market?
So you can't really prospect it other than living in it. So look, I'm in Beverly Hills. My office is in Beverly Hills. I go to all the restaurants every day for lunch and dinner, sometimes way too much. But I'll see 5 or 10 people I know, or acquaintances or past clients at lunch or dinner, or at a party. Shopping on Rodeo Drive is 2 blocks away. So look, and this is the super high-end luxury over 5-10 million. So again, I don't know your city you're in or what area, but you have to just think about, okay, what is luxury in my market? Where do those people shop?
Yeah.
What charities do they donate to? What do they do on their free spare time? And you don't ever do things that are not in alignment with who you are. You have to make sure you do that because it makes sense to you and you feel comfortable in that environment. Otherwise, it's going to look superficial and fake, and they're not going to want to work with you. So they got to know you, like you, trust you, and respect you, but they also have to know that you're circling in the same realms as them. If you have look, you could be in a market that your average price is 400,000, but high end is 800,000. So if you're at a party and your friends are $800,000 $1 million sellers, and your other friends in that level know that, they're like, oh, well, I want to sell my house, but he knows the same people we know, so he'll probably find the right buyer for our house.
Start to expose yourself and network yourself in those higher markets.
Absolutely.
But don't try to do like yoga at one of those studios if you don't know how to do yoga and you're falling on your face.
No, if you like yoga, and I always say this is, I mentioned this before. If you do what you love, what's really in your heart, what you love, business will come to you. I love fashion. I love jewelry. I love travel. So frankly, most of my biggest deals have come from traveling around the world to the best places, the best hotels, buying expensive clothes and jewelry. I mean, because look, in the world of luxury retail, when you buy from a particular vendor or brand consistently, again, depending where you are, you're a regular customer, and then they have parties and sit down dinners or cocktail receptions. And guess what? All the other clients that are buying those things are there too. Like, oh, you like Chanel. Oh, you're at the Chanel dinner. Oh, you must be a big client. Oh, I've got a $10 million house. Oh, let's talk about that.
You can kind of go from there.
Exactly.
Okay. Henry Alexander asked, I'm a new agent starting out in the competitive luxury market of Charleston, South Carolina. what's one daily or weekly habit you would recommend that new agents adopt to develop into a qualified luxury agent?
So Henry, first of all, I think you need to call every single expired listing and every single for sale by owner in the neighborhood. You need to know where the rich people go to eat, go to drink, and try to try to be part of that world.
Yeah.
See where they live and function. But you got to be visible. You got to be part of that work. In Charleston, South Carolina, I think we know a few people that there's some gorgeous properties down there. I mean, I've never been, but I know the houses of some of our friends, and they're incredible. So figure out a way to be part of their world. If that's really congruent to who you are. If it's not, then don't do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Onyx, hi Onyx. He said, congrats, Christophe. I bet I went to LA earlier this year and that really boosted my confidence. I want to improve consistently. You're great. I'm working as a realtor in Malta, Europe with Remax Malta, south of Sicily in the Mediterranean. I've been working as a realtor for the past 5 years. I want to improve performance and consistency by leveling up. You're excellent. I follow you on LinkedIn. Best regards, Onyx.
Well, Onyx, first of all, wow, you're the first broker I've ever heard from that came from Malta. And I have been to Malta, by the way. Malta is one of the most unique places in the world. I mean, it's the pinnacle southern point of the main part of Europe, and it's a little, I kind of call it the crossroads of the world, because in Malta, I think every single culture is there. It's a fascinating. If you've never been to Malta, it's fascinating. So contact me directly. I don't know who the buyers are in Malta, but I think you have to think about, okay, Malta's probably still a very international community for trade. And I remember the outdoor markets and jewelry markets and all that in Malta. So I think look at who the people are that buy there, and then connect with, if let's say the buyers are from Turkey and the buyers are from Italy, connect with the top agents in those feed markets that come to Malta. But Malta is a fascinating place. I mean, truly one of the most fascinating places I've ever been to.
Really cool. Thanks, Onyx. Danny said, thank you, Christophe. I have to run. Have a great week.
Okay.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much for joining us this afternoon/morning on the Pacific Coast. Thank you, Christophe, for being here with us today. Onyx said he'll be in touch. Cool. Everybody follow Christophe on Instagram, YouTube. He's at Christophe Choo. If you want to get inspired by his social media and his videos, download his app. He's got a very cool concierge custom link section that we're going to build out even further. Yep. Jason Daniel said, Christophe, great to see you here. Thanks for your time to share today. I enjoy meeting you in Beverly Hills at the Ken Goodfellow event several years ago.
Oh, nice. Yes.
Awesome.
Thank you, Rachel, for having me. And thank you, everyone. Yeah, please just type in Christophe Choo anywhere on social media. I'm there, unless it's a fake profile. And then follow me and let's connect and let's do business together.
Never to be imitated, the legendary Christophe Choo. Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate your time.